What is up, everybody? This is Jeff Lightsey Jr. with the Black Boss Channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Come on into the room. Come on into the room because court is about to be in session as we have to dissect the current president and vice president of the United States and what's taking place right in front of our eyes. Right before the congregation that is the black people of the United States. I see that the black people are starting to file into the room. Please put your hashtag B1s in the chat, hashtag B1s in the chat as you come in, because this is a very, very serious topic that we're going to talk about today. And I wore this hoodie that I have. For those of you who don't know, I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And we were giving out these sweatshirts, right, during the election, right? Because the whole message of the election was vote, 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 vote. Get Trump out of office. Vote, vote, vote. Get your vote. Get your booties to the poll. Vote, 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 more voting and keeping all the voting rights. So put all your B1s in the chat because we're going to be talking about this here right here, this vote and this shield, not just this shield, but a bunch of shields, but specifically in relation to the historically black colleges and universities, right? So for those of you who don't know, thank you. We got some nice people in right now in the room. We're coming in. We're coming in heavy. Continue to hit the thumbs up button as you come in. So for those of you who don't know, Joe Biden, your president Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris have proposed a bill that would drastically cut the funding of HBCUs. Like drastically cut the funding of HBCUs. I'm going to read a pro-black website that is called Black Enterprise. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to read some of this together just so we all know what is taking place. So here on Black Enterprise, the article is titled HBCU funding falls from $45 billion to $2 billion in Biden spending plan due to Democratic infighting. Now, I don't know about y'all. I'm not a math whiz. But to cut something from $45 billion to $2 billion is a problem. Please let me know in the chat if you believe that is not a problem. Please let me know in the chat. Shout out to Daniel McDowell. Shout out to Daniel and Draper Scott and Problematic Optimistic. And my name is Corey and all you guys here, Michael Williams and so on and so forth. But cutting something from $45 billion to $2 billion is a huge problem. But let's continue to read the article because, headlines can be misleading. Headlines cannot always be the truth. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is Kamala Harris, our current vice president, with a number of HBCU students. It looks like they're at Howard University, and they're representing their different HBCUs. I see FAMU in the building, Spelman, Howard, of course, a bunch of different ones, a bunch of ones that are well known. It says HBCUs that were looking to get their share of a $45 million in funding as part of President Joe Biden's spending plan may see less than $5 billion due to Democratic infighting. Biden's $3.5 trillion spending bill was set to include $45 billion. Remember, this is what Joe Biden campaigned on. $45 billion. I really think it was $55 billion. I mean, let me know in the chat. When he first put it out, wasn't it $55 billion? I thought it was, but they're saying 45, so I'm going to rock with them on this one. $45 billion in spending for HBCUs and other minority-serving institutions. So pause, time out, time the hell out. Okay, MSI, minority serving institutions. What the hell is that? I don't know about y'all, but I ain't never heard of that before. Like the fact that that is even included lets me know some kind of trickeration was going to happen from the jump anyway. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. MSI, I've never heard that term before in my entire life in 25 years, but that is what it is. However, the newest version of the bill allocates just $2 billion for educational programs and HBCUs. Even worse, the funding could be changed into competitive grant funding instead of direct funding to the schools. So let's break this down. He promised $45 billion. They're cutting it to $2 billion, and not that fact, and it's not going to be $2 billion. It's going to be $2 billion to competitions. So if your school writes the best grant write-up, right, makes the best grant proposal, you'll get the money. Everybody doesn't get the money. Remember, everybody was going to get $45 billion. Everybody was supposed to get the $45 billion. But now the $45 billion only goes to those schools who write the best grants, who has the best grants write-up. Remember that vote? We're going to come back to that. Let's keep reading. Let's keep reading because this is insane. Okay, so it says, direct funding to the schools. The aid currently penciled in at $1.45 billion. So look, the number keeps getting smaller, guys. It went, I swear on everything, I thought it was $55 billion when he was campaigning. I swear he was campaigning on $55 billion. That number sticks out to me. Then we go to $45 billion. Then we go to $2 billion. And now the aid is only penciled in for $1.45 billion, which is less than $2 billion. It's $500 million less, $550 million less or whatever, $45 million less. And it's grant based and it's not direct funding. Okay, let's keep reading. The aid currently penciled in at $1.45 billion to be distributed between 2022 and 2026 is much less than the HBCUs anticipated, putting Biden at odds with groups that propelled him to the White House. Okay, let's keep reading. Quote, the number is significantly lower than what we had hoped for, said Paul Jones, the president of Fort Valley State University and the vice chair of the Council of 1890 Presidents. Quote, along with the minority serving institutions and the Hispanic serving institutions, it's really sort of lumping us all into the sector when we all have tremendous needs. Oh my God, where have we heard this before, guys? Come on, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. Where have we heard this before? Remember, I'd never heard of this minority, like what is this thing they're calling it? MSI? Let me know in the chat if you have ever heard of MSI. I have yet to see, I've never heard of MSI before. Minority serving institutions, MSI. Is that like, did they just make that up? Is that something is that a new term? Is that new slang? Is that MSI? They wasn't saying MSI when they was telling us to vote now, were they? Let me know. Do you remember? I don't remember nothing about no damn MSI when they were sending me these hoodies, sending me these sweatshirts, telling me to get my booty to the polls, telling me black women saved the Democratic Party, telling me that Joe Biden's only in office because of the black people, telling me black people's the number one priority. They wasn't saying shit about no damn MSI when Joe Biden went on the Breakfast Club and said, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. They wasn't saying nothing about no MSI when Kamala Harris was bringing hot sauce in her bag or Hillary Clinton was having hot sauce in her bag. Whoever had the damn hot sauce, I don't even remember. It all just like blowing my damn brains. Or when Kamala Harris was ski-weeing her way all the way to the polls, stroll to the polls, ski-wee to the polls. You know what I mean? None of that was happening. I didn't hear not one iota about no MSI. Now, please let me know if you did, because I didn't. I swear to God I didn't. Okay, let's keep reading because, I mean, we're really going to get into this. We're going to get into this in a second, and there's more to this story. Okay, so along with the minority serving institutions and the Hispanic institutions, it's really sort of lumping us all together. See, and that's what takes place, black people. For those of you who don't know, when the government or the president or the vice president or the Democratic Party or hell, even the Republican Party, whatever party, when they want to get you, mainly the Democrats are the ones who get most of the black votes, right? When they want the black vote, they tell you all the things you want to hear. Hey, baby, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to get you $45 billion for HBCUs. I'm going to be way better than Trump. Trump hates black people. If you vote Trump, black people are going to be shot dead on the streets all day, every day. And the coronavirus is going to come kill your family. But if you vote me, if you vote Kamala Harris, we're going to ski-wee to the polls. We're going to get Raphael Warnock. We're going to, 06 to the bros to the polls. We're going to do all of this, all these HBCUs, all these people in the Democratic Party that are associated with HBCUs, whether it's Raphael Warnock down there in Georgia, Kamala Harris in the White House. Who's the lady in Georgia? Please, somebody in the chat, let me know. What's the lady? I can't think of her name. The saved down in Georgia. The lady down in Georgia got all the black people to vote. She's an HBCU. Keisha Lance Bottoms, the mayor of Atlanta, HBCU. Like, there's all these people associated with the Democratic Party that have ties to HBCUs. And somehow, some way, out of a $3.5 trillion spending bill, only $1.45 billion Out of the 55 billion, I swear to God, it was 55 billion that was promised to black people. Only 1.45 billion is promised not to black people, but to MSIs, minority institutions. Minority institutions. That means the Latino institutions. That means the Asian institutions. That means the, the handicap institutions. That means the LGBT institutions, right? Because all of them are going to be lumped in there, right? All of them are going to be in there. Let me know in the chat if I'm wrong. All of them are going to be included in the same 1.45 billion, and it's grant based. So that means there's no guarantee you're going to get it. Yes, Stacey Abrams. There we go. Thank you, Michael Williams. Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams is her name. She went to an HBCU. So the money's not even guaranteed because it's grant based. It's who has the best grant writers. And it got cut by over $40 billion. I say 50 billion, but they're going to say 40 billion. I'm going to roll with Black Enterprise. $40 billion. And we don't see a problem here. Please tell me you see a problem. Let me know in the chat. Please let me know in the chat that you see a problem. You're right, Ingrid. Every institution except blacks. Because there's no guarantees your black institution is going to get it. And let's not act like HBCUs are just swimming in money. HBCUs are not swimming in money. As we all know, HBCUs are what we call struggling. They're very much so struggling. That's not a problem. I mean, that is a major problem. Let's continue on. Let's continue reading, and then we're going to talk about this sweatshirt and other ones that were made like it. See, HBCUs have been underfunded for decades. Through institutional racism and federal government extreme unwillingness to help. Last summer, HBCU schools received millions in donations from who? Mackenzie Scott, a white woman. Mackenzie Scott, the ex-wife of Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos. Additionally, a bevy of companies, including the tech, banking, and retail industries, also donated money for HBCUs. See, okay, and let's take this paragraph into consideration. So obviously we know the HBCUs have been underfunded for years and years. Mackenzie Scott came in and gave a whole bunch of money to a whole bunch of HBCUs, like a whole lot of money, right? And then all of these other people, after George Floyd was killed, RIP, came and gave a bunch of money because they want to show that they were black. Because being black was cool for like 5 minutes during the summer of 2020, right? Like being black was like, Netflix was putting out statements, and Subway and McDonald's and, all these Fortune 500, Papa John's, even though, they had guy got put out because he was saying the N-word on the conference call. And everybody, it was super cool to be black for like 5 minutes during the summer of 2020. And then the NBA players took to the bubble and they had special messages on their back of their shirts, and, this moment of solidarity with the NFL teams. And, we could lift every voice before every NFL game nowadays and all of this stuff, right? Because we had to fight Trump. We had to fight the pandemic, and we love black people. We had to fight racism, right? Like all of that lasted for like 5 minutes until Biden got in office. And all of a sudden the police shootings went away. We stopped hearing about police shootings. All of a sudden being black was like, okay, being black is back to regular scheduled program. It's regular being black, right? And then all of that like special Black Lives Matter stuff. Like, have we heard from any of them in a long time? No, we have not, because, all of a sudden since January, I guess the cops stopped shooting black folks, right? I mean, let me know. Am I tweaking? Like, did the cops just stop shooting black folks since January 21? Because I have not heard of one major black shooting. I mean, I haven't. I really haven't. I'd be wrong if I said I did, because I have not. So, it is what it is. Let's keep going. Several HBCUs have sued the states that they reside in: Coppin State University, Bowie State, Morgan State, University of Maryland. So like all of that so that is what's taking place. So the HBCUs are being gypped out of almost over $40 million that they were promised, right? So that's what took place. But black people, so some of you may be wondering, what the hell happened? We all voted. They told us to get our booty to the polls. They said if we vote for them, they were going to do X, Y, and Z. But see, here's where we missed the boat, right? When you have the power, you have the leverage, whether it's in a contract negotiation, whether it's in a voting negotiation, whether it's in whatever, name your favorite, whatever, right? When you hold the power, you demand what you want, You get what you want, and then you deliver. When you don't demand what you want, there is no purpose for said person to deliver. So if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and all these other black Democrats that are HBCU alums, Stacey Abrams, Raphael Warnock, Kamala Harris, Keisha Lance Bottoms, the list goes on and on. Oprah, hell, I don't know. Oprah, she would Tennessee State. When they are fighting tooth and nail to get you to go to the polls because they're telling you that Trump is the worst thing in the history of the world, you tell them, screw you, give me what I want, and then you can get your vote. You can get your vote when I know that you're going to deliver on that promise. If you give me all of those, they call them broken promises. No, they were empty promises because they were never promises to begin with. That man, Joe Biden, had the audacity to go on one of the largest black platforms, not owned by black people, but listened to and consumed by black people, The Breakfast Club, and said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That was it. Charlamagne was tagging him with tough questions, and he was like, ooh. He was like you ever seen a boxing fight when somebody's just getting tagged and you got to throw in the towel? That was his version of throwing in the towel. Man, to hell with this. Y'all asking real questions like tangibles. Y'all asking stuff like, yo, what does your black agenda say? What is going to take place with the black agenda? What are your plans for black people? Not MSIs, not minorities, not what the hell is an MSI? I've never heard of that before in my life. I'm so passionate about this because these folks, they move the goalposts. It's a term we use in sports, and specifically in football. It's called moving the goalposts. It's when you're about to in the game of football, you get closer and closer to the goalpost, the closer and closer you are to scoring. But when the goalpost is moved, that means you got to go further. So if you're 5 yards away from scoring, right? That means you got them. You're about to score. You're about to score a touchdown. You're on the 5-yard line or the 1-yard line. And then all of a sudden, the goalpost is moved back 20 yards. And it's like, whoa, what the hell's going on? I was just about to score. So you mean to tell me that we did all of this voting? See, and that's the thing. Folks have tried to convince you, have tried to tell you, have tried to make you believe that black people don't vote. That is some bullshit. Let's just call it what it is. That is some bullshit. Black people have voted in every election. Every election that they've been at, black people fought to vote. Black people, they didn't die to vote. They were killed to vote. So we've been voting. That ain't never been a problem. Over 7,000 elected officials. We've been voting. Voting ain't never been a problem. It's the fact that you haven't demanded anything for your vote. Like as if that's like, and then you get talked about when you do demand things for your vote. Like holding someone accountable saying, yo, you're not getting my vote till I hear something that actually makes sense. Like, yo, that don't make sense. You have this laundry list, this long history of not doing anything, and you think I'm about to just give over my vote? No. How about you prove to me that you're going to actually do something? But no, instead they get you to stroll to the polls and they get to do you know what I mean? Like come on, bro. Like, so this news came out like in the last 24 to 48 hours, right? That the funding was getting cut, right? So I'm going to show you all something that also took place in the last 24 to 48 hours, because these deals aren't made in 24 to 48 hours. Let's be very, very clear. These deals, like they know when the stuff's going to happen. So in that same time frame, in that same 24 to 48 hours, right? Remember, I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, right? This is where I got this shirt from, this sweatshirt during the election time. It was like vote, and I'm wearing this symbolically because I want to show you something. So this news about the funding of the HBCUs, be sure to hit the thumbs up button, guys. We're in here pretty heavy. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. So during that, so Kamala, Joe, their administration, they knew that this news is going to come out, right? They knew that the news, it was leaking out for the last 2 weeks, but it came out with all the news had picked it up that they've cut the funding from what I remember, $55 billion, what they're reporting, $45 billion, to under 2 billion to like 1.45. And it's actually not for HBCUs. It's actually for everybody that considers themselves minority. So that includes women, Asians, Latinos, LGBT, all of that in between. If you're MSI, some shit I had never heard of. Okay, let's keep talking. So during that same 24 to 48 hour time frame, and some folks in my fraternity might get mad at me, but we got to show you how it works, right? So they knew that this stuff was going to come out, right? There's no surprise. They knew that this stuff was going to break. And so what happens during that 24 to 48 hour time period? This is a picture posted on the official Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated Instagram, right? I want to show you this. And the reason why I want to show you this, because like I said, this news has come out in the last 48 hours. And this message says, for those of you who can't read it, says National Panhellenic Councils of Presidents. So all the Divine Nine presidents met up with Vice President Kamala Harris to discuss issues impacting our communities and whether the Divine Nine can partner with the Biden-Harris administration. So you got Lonzer, who's our president, and all the presidents of, all the different, the Deltas, the AKAs, the Sigmas, the Kappas, the Qs, the Iotas, all the SG Rows. Everybody's there. Zetas. Everybody's there. Because they knew this news was going to come out, guys. This is not by accident. Please let me know that you understand that all of this is by design. These people are not dumb. They think you're dumb. That's why they do stuff like this. So me, as a member of my fraternity, right? And you, if you're a part of the Divine Nine, or if you're an HBCU grad, if you're someone who respects these people, because these are well-respected people, the presidents of their fraternities/sororities, right? They wouldn't be the presidents or the presidents or, the Bassius or whatever you call them, if they weren't respected, right? So they know they have a large following. They have great respect among their peers. They have great respect among their members. And so let's do a photo op. And let's say we're discussing the plans, right? Smile in your face while stabbing you in the damn back. Because some of these people are also high-ranking members, if not presidents, of what? HBCUs. They're high-ranking officials, if not presidents, of historically black colleges and universities. Yes, they are. Some of these same individuals in this photo op. Come on, y'all. Biden and Kamala, they're not dumb, but they think you are. They think you're going to take this and just keep going. Come on, man. Hello? Please tell me we know what's going on. Please tell me, let me know in the chat, let me know in the comments that you understand what is taking place right in front of your face. Like I said, this news came out in the last 48 hours. The right-wing places have been talking about it for like the last 2 weeks, right? But you got to have some skepticism from the right wing because they're quick to just bash on whatever, right? So it's like, okay, we let it simmer for about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks, this stuff was coming down the pipeline. It really broke in the last 24 to 48 hours. And during that same time frame, we get what? This image of all the Divine Nines, meeting with a member of the Divine Nine, a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Miss Kamala Harris. Come on, man. We can't act like this isn't real. We can't act like this isn't taking place. We can't be so naive. We can't let whoever scare us. Because during the election, it was all about vote, 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 and Viggity vote. And recently, they've been telling you how they're trying to steal your voting rights in places like Georgia. In places like, Georgia's the main place. But instead, this is what we get. $40 billion in cuts. Over $40 billion in cuts. And not to mention, a lot of people are going to be left out with their hand out with not shit in it. Because only $1.5 billion is allocated to the institutions. And that's all institutions that consider themselves minority. But instead, you'll get people to go on TV. And like you said, those butter biscuits are drizzled in honey. The people that get those butter biscuits and try to convince you that everything is okay. What you're seeing is not real. What's really real is Kamala loves her ski-wee AKA. She loves her AKA. Joe Biden. I mean, do we remember? Some of us may not remember. Some of us may. Some of us may not remember because it is hard to remember everything. I'm here to show you. I am far from perfect, but I remember some things. This is one thing that I remember. This is one thing I do remember. You guys remember this? Do you guys remember this? Join HBCU students for Joe Biden. Please let me know in the chat that you remember. Join HBCU students for Joe Biden. What does that get you? That gets you $40 billion in cuts. That gets you $1.5 billion allegedly fought between you, every HBCU in the country, and anybody that considers themselves a minority. That's what joining HBCU students for Joe Biden seems to get you. Guys, we can't act like this isn't happening. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. I bounced out. I don't know what happened with my computer. But we can't act like this isn't happening. This is happening before your eyes. So you had a lot of power. You had all the power in the world in the last election. Like literally all the power in the world. The election was at your fingertips. They credit you, especially black women. They credit black women specifically for saving the Democratic Party. They credit black people for getting Joe Biden elected. They had campaigns targeting you, targeting your children, targeting your students, targeting your families, aunties, uncles, cousins. Join HBCU students for Joe Biden. They told you to get your booties to the polls and vote and get the horrible racist that is Donald Trump out of office, and everything was going to be fine. Police were going to stop shooting and killing black folks. The virus was going to go away. And you were going to actually be able to build economic wealth. There was no plan for any of these things, but that's what you were told. And all that's gotten you is $40 billion in cuts, a large number of butter biscuit eating black folks going on television telling you some of the dumbest stuff I've ever heard, and people out there with their ass out wondering what the hell just happened. How did I get to this point? A lot of black folks asking, how in the hell did we get here? This is what happens when you don't use the power that you have, the power that's at your fingertips, what is taking place. This is what happens, guys. This is not by accident. All of this was designed. But hey, your favorite fraternity and or sorority gets a photo op with the Vice President of the United States, and they get to meet and talk about building the black community and helping the black people and doing this and doing that. But at the same time, we're going to we're going to help you, but we're going to cut $40 billion from your education. When your establishments, your institutions, your universities need it the most. Come on, people. You all are too smart. You all are too brilliant. You all know better. We know better. They got us. They pulled the okie doke and they got us. They got us all to vote. They got us all to come out. Got us all to do the stuff that they wanted us to do. But enough is enough. When will we say no more? When will we say no more? I believe we're turning the corner right now. If now more than ever, we are turning the corner and a change is going to come. Sam Cooke once said, change is going to come. It's coming. Join us for the All Black National Convention, where we really do dive into black issues. And we don't just talk about it. We come up with solutions. We come up with what's next. We are building a black economy. We are building black media. We're building black films. And we're building black politics and how to deal with this kind of stuff. Join me at the All Black National Convention, October 29th through November 1st in Orlando, Florida. And you can follow me on Instagram at JLighty7, where I have conversations like this all the time, and also on Twitter at JLighty7. It's the same. And for my Facebook folks, Jeff Lighty Sports on Facebook. That's Jeff Lighty Sports on Facebook. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay black. Put your B1s in the chat. I'll see you next time. Peace.